Hi there and welcome back to the channel. Today we will be looking at the top 15 arcade shoot-'em-up games from the golden age of video gaming. While this list is subjective, hopefully you enjoy this trip down memory lane. Let's begin our journey.
Let's go!
Yeah, let's get into it. 15.
Gyrus.
I remember this one.
Gyrus is a shoot-'em-up released by Konami in 1983. The purpose of this game is to fly through the solar system and reach Earth over 25 stages. It involves a player's ship facing into the screen and moving around the perimeter. Stars appear at the center of the screen, flying outwards, giving the impression that the player's ship is moving through space. 14.
Time Pilot.
Let's go!
Time Pilot is a multi-directional shooter released in 1982. It was the last game designed by Yoshiki Okamoto for Konami, before he joined Capcom. In this game, the player controls a jet that travels through 5 different time-themed eras. 56 normal ships must be destroyed for the mothership to appear. Destroying the mothership, the player then advances to the next time period.
Whoa, that's cool!
13.
Phoenix.
Killing me some birds!
Phoenix is a fixed shooter released by Taito in 1980, and then by Century in early 1981 for an American release. In this game, a player controls a spaceship that moves horizontally at the bottom of the screen. Each level has 5 separate rounds where bird-like ships, and finally a mothership must be destroyed. The player's ship is equipped with a shield that takes time to recharge before it can be used again. 12.
Xevious.
Played this one for days!
Xevious is a vertical scrolling shooter, developed and published by Namco in 1982 and by Atari in North America. Players control the Solvalu fighter with guns and bombs and must destroy the Xevious forces. The game was praised for its detailed graphics and challenge. In Japan, it became the biggest-selling game since Space Invaders.
That's impressive!
However, in North America it was less successful.
Oh no!
11.
Robotron 2084.
Pew pew pew.
Robotron 2084 is a multi-directional shooter released by Williams Electronics in 1982. The aim is to defeat 255 waves of cybernetic robots while saving human family members.
255?
The game was one of the first to use a twin joystick control scheme and was praised for its intense action. 10.
Top 10!
Zaxxon.
Oh yeah!
Zaxxon is an isometric shooter, developed and released by Sega in 1982. The game is played by using your on-screen altimeter where you must navigate wall openings and electronic barriers before taking on the enemy robot, Zaxxon. It was praised for its pseudo-3D graphics style and one of the first video games to be advertised on television. Zaxxon was a critical and commercial success, ranking in the top 5 highest-grossing games of 1982.
Nice!
9.
Moon Patrol.
Bouncy wheels!
Moon Patrol was developed and released by Irem in 1982 and licensed by Williams for its North American release. The player drives a moon buggy, avoiding craters, rocks and landmines, while shooting with a short-range cannon and an anti-aircraft gun at aliens above. The game is remembered for its catchy music and its parallax scrolling, which gives the illusion of depth.
Watch out!
8.
1942.
Why are we whispering?
1942 is a vertically scrolling shooter by Capcom that was released in 1984. Even though the game had Japanese developers, the goal was to reach Tokyo and destroy the Japanese air fleet. With Western markets in mind, it went on to be an arcade success commercially, becoming one of the top 5 highest grossing games in 1986. 7.
Tempest.
Not Shakespeare.
Tempest is a 1981 vector display geometric shooter by Atari. The action takes place on a 3D surface divided into lanes.
Stay in your lane, buddy.
Players control a claw-shaped blaster that sits on the edge, while moving from segment to segment as a rotating knob is turned.
Play with that knob.
It is considered to be the first game to let players choose their starting level and had a progressive level design rather than simply using the same layout with increasing difficulty. 6.
Galaxian.
Pew pew.
Galaxian is a 1979 fixed shooter developed by Namco and their answer to Taito's Space Invaders. Galaxian was one of the first video games to feature RGB color graphics. Suffice to say, it was a hit for Namco and was the second highest grossing arcade game of 1979 and 1980. In the US, it became one of the best-selling games of all time, with 50,000 units sold by 1982. 5.
Defender.
Definitely a fave.
Defender is a horizontally scrolling shooter developed by Williams Electronics in 1980 and released in 1981. It was initially deemed a flop at a trade show in 1981 due to its difficulty. However, it became one of the most important titles of the golden age of gaming, selling over 55,000 units, to become Williams' best-selling title. 4.
Centipede.
Watch out! Bug attack!
Centipede is a 1980 fixed shooter developed and published by Atari. It was one of the most successful games from the golden age of video games and attracted a significant female player base. Versions of this game used a trackball instead of a joystick to control the gun, with the object to shoot a centipede as it worked its way down through a field of mushrooms. The player had to also watch out for fleas, spiders, and scorpions. 3.
Top 3, let's go!
Space Invaders.
Space Invaders is a 1978 shooter sold by Taito in Japan and licensed to Midway overseas. It was the first fixed shooter and set the template for the genre, with the goal being to defeat wave after wave of aliens. It was an immediate commercial success, having grossed $3.8 billion by 1982. It has become the highest-grossing video game of all time and one of the most influential. 2.
I can almost taste it!
Asteroids.
Asteroids is a space-themed multi-directional shooter released in November 1979 by Atari. Rendered on a vector display, the player controls a single spaceship, with the goal being to shoot and destroy the asteroids and saucers without colliding into anything or being shot. The game was widely imitated and directly influenced Defender, among others.
The best of the rest!
Totally lit!
The music has gone quiet.
Is that you playing?
Yep. Let's go get some.
Number 1.
And the winner is...
Galaga.
Galaga is a 1981 fixed shooter developed and published by Namco, and released in North America by Midway. It is the sequel to Galaxian. Galaga received critical acclaim for its gameplay and addictive nature and went on to become one of the most successful arcade games of all time, and is regarded as a classic of the golden age of arcade video games.
Well, that concludes our journey down memory lane. Keep your eyes open for future videos and don't forget, like, subscribe, and keep your finger near the trigger button as you never know who might be trying to get you. Ha 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 ha.
You're not funny.